Thanks for staying tuned to STL TV Live. I'm Sarah Thompson. Local residents and professional actors will join forces in the artful adaptation of William Shakespeare's As You Like It as part of the 3rd Annual Shakespeare in the Streets, presented by Shakespeare Festival St. Louis. Here with me today is the director of this year's play, Alec Wild.
Hi, Sarah.
Learning all these great things about you off camera. I'm like, how are we going to include this in our interview? But let's start with Shakespeare in the Streets, because people who aren't familiar with it, they hear it, it kind of seems obvious, but for those who aren't, please tell us what it is first.
Yeah, well, the funniest thing about it is that it's not actually Shakespeare in the streets. We go into a community in St. Louis for about 6 months. We interview everybody that we can. We try and meet everybody in the community, and that means everybody, people who work there, people who live there, people who go to school there, young people, the elderly people, professionals, and the guy who sells newspapers on the street. And we get their stories. We ask them to tell us why they live there, what they like about their community, what they dislike about it. Then we go away for about a month and we think about what Shakespeare play sort of fits with the themes that we're working with, that we hear from the stories coming from the community, and then we adapt the play into a show for the community, and we perform it in the street. So it's based on a Shakespeare play, but it's the stories that we've heard from the community, sort of weaved into Shakespeare's plot, and we perform it in the street at night at 8 o'clock. It's an hour long, and it's a fantastic time.
So I know in the past when we've talked about this, we've been in neighborhoods like the Grove and Cherokee Street. So this year it's different, and tell us about the neighborhood that was selected this year.
This year they chose Clayton, and the purpose of the program is to go into every community at some point in St. Louis. So we're looking at this in a very long-term way. I know that next year we've chosen North City, Old North City to do, so that's exciting as well. And this year it's in Clayton, and happens on Maryland Avenue, right between on Central Avenue, excuse me, right between Forsyth and Maryland, this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay, so Good in Everything. It's an adaptation of As You Like It, and includes it's a reflection of the feedback from the community. So what is it about?
It's a love story, actually. We talked to so many people in Clayton and asked them, what do you like about Clayton and what do you dislike about Clayton? And we really wanted to hear, we always love to hear what people hate about their community, because drama requires conflict. You know, it's always good to have conflict in drama. So when we asked people what they hated, they said parking in Clayton. And if you've ever tried to park in Clayton, you know that that's true. Yes, or if you've gotten a ticket, and I have many in the last 6 months, then you know. But when we asked them what they did like, they kept saying over and over the schools. Lots of people had moved to Clayton for the schools, for the school district and for the school system there. And we got curious, and we started going to the schools, and wound up really discovering our stories at Clayton High School, where we feel it's kind of a little like the United Nations there. There's a voluntary transfer program, desegregation program that they initiated in, I think, the 80s, the early 80s, that led to a really diverse community there, and a really interesting community of kids and teachers. People were really passionate about what they do and engaged in the world. So we started gathering stories from them, and Nancy Bell, who's our playwright, brilliant playwright, took those stories and wove them into a version of As You Like It, which is a love story. Yeah.
And so it should probably be noted then that because this is reflection, or it kind of reflects the desegregation program, that this then brings in race, and so this would be an interracial love story? It
is, yeah. As a matter of fact, it deals with a desegregation student who falls in love with a white student at Clayton High School, and they escape Clayton for a little while to work out the problems of that relationship. And yeah, it deals with it, I think, in a sort of a very straightforward way, but also a very lighthearted and fun way. It's a love story, of course.
Yeah, and As You Like It is a comedy,
yeah,
right?
It's a comedy where a woman goes off to the forest and dresses as a boy, and as a boy she meets the boy that she loves, and they sort of work out how love works, and so it's great fun. It's very funny, but it also deals with a subject that I think is kind of close to all of us, particularly here in St. Louis.
Yeah, and particularly now, but I think in a different sort of tone, and I think that's appreciated. Well, I still have more to ask you, because we want to talk about how there's professional actors alongside students who are going to be in this. So yes, we're going to have more with Alec when we return, and we're going to talk about Good in Everything. That's this year's production for Shakespeare in the Streets, but we're going to be right back after this break.